hopefully we'll have a few more people join us. I'm missing a couple of people who said they'd speak. But let's get going. We have a really wonderful person to celebrate today. As well as volunteering in Raymond, which is really what we wanted to celebrate here. It's not just about one person's contribution. This is a community where everyone volunteers. So, and I look around the crowd here, and I know many of your faces because of the things that you do in the community. So, welcome everybody, and let's get going. I want to first of all thank Dana Zulager for bringing our coffee service and apple cider, and also RCTV for taping our program, and they'll broadcast it for us in the future.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
You're going to be on TV, Sandy.
I can't.
Sandy, but you have a
Do I have to take minutes?
Yeah. To take minutes. So you have a podium to stand behind, and we may not even be able to see you over there. This program is put on by our local newspaper, This Week in Raymond, and a few of my staff are here today. Everybody on the paper is a volunteer as well. So I wanted to introduce those people who are here. First one is Jeanette Farrell. And Jeanette's been with the paper since we started. She was the first one who joined on. She's responsible for the police log, in case any of you are police log fans.
If you're not, I don't want to hear it.
And at the same table with her is Harry McLeod, and he's been helping out for quite a while as well. And then Marty Devine is taking photos over here. And then I have a few people who are missing today. Diane Debercare, who does a great deal for us. She will not be present anywhere with a broken tooth. So she's already told me she won't be seen. Paul Kalina has a very ill member of his family, so he's not with us. And Stacy Hedstrom is having Christmas with her in-laws down in, I think it's North Carolina, either north or south. And Lisa Grant is our member with MS, and she's got a really bad cold now, so it's not good for her to come out when her immune system is compromised. So, but they're the ones who are volunteers, and we put out the paper once a week, which attracted most of you to be here today. So anyway, this is an award program that we started last year. This is our second award. The first was given to Joyce Woods last year about this time. And we started because there were so many people in this community that we were meeting who were giving so much of their time, who had created programs and had encouraged others to help them, and have, made our community so much more livable, so much more enjoyable by their efforts. And Sandy, of course, is one of them. Yesterday, she played at the town parade for the caroling. She's been doing that for 27 years. So as we were finding more and more people who were, just giving in an outstanding method and over, we decided that we should do something about that. And we came up with this idea. However, it doesn't congratulate everybody who's giving. It congratulates only one, but we're hoping that we can put a spotlight on the volunteering efforts that people do in the town, and hopefully you all know you're appreciated. All right, so both years we sat down as a group, all the staff on the paper, and we went through a list of names. Last year we got quite a few names. This year we got quite a few names. We asked the community to provide names of people who they felt were deserving of some additional thanks and appreciation for their efforts. So I'm going to read out the names of the people who are on our list. We went through that same list this year. Like I said, we added a few more names this year. And we do want to thank all of them, as well as Sandy, for their efforts. So the people on our list currently include Bonnie Martin, Brenda Gilbert, Carol Cameron, Carolyn Matthews, Carrie Chason, Celeste Clark, Colleen and Paul Coates, Corporal Kelly, Dana Zulager, Debbie and Luke Papamichael, Donna Burgess, the Fire Volunteers, Greg Bemis, Gretchen Gott, the Historical Society, Jack Barnes, John McDaniels, Joyce Wood, Kathy and Lauren Campbell, Kelly Martineau, Ken Bossy, Kevin McBride, Kevin Woods, of course, who's here with us, the knitting group at the Senior Center, Lisa Hutchinson, Mike Kapler, Pam Turcott, Paul Brown, Paul Kalina, the Riverside Park Committee, Sally Parody, Sandy Ellis, the Scouting Programs, Tim Lewis, Tona McCarthy, the Tuckaway Tavern, and Walmart. Each of these groups and persons have given a lot to our community. And I know that there are more out there whose names I did not read. So if you would send me an email, we'll add them to the list. And in the fall, we go through our list, take new additions when we ask you for them in the paper, and then we discuss and try and get the list down to a couple of names. And this year, each of the members came together and they had somebody that they were backing. So we got around the table and everybody kind of presented the one that they thought should get it. And we weren't in agreement. And so we pulled out the list again and we sat there and somebody said, what about Sandy Ellis? And it took about a minute and a half and there was complete unanimity that this was the right person. So Sandy, thank you for everything you do. Thank you. So then I was tasked with finding out everything that Sandy did. And as most of you know, that's not an easy task. If you read the article...
It was worse for me.
I did ask
that number of years.
I asked Sandy to pull together some notes too. When I told her about the award, she just about started crying. And I mentioned to some of you, she said to me, oh my God, you made my day. No, you made my week. Hell, you made my whole year. So I'm glad that you were pleased as well. So anyway, she pulled together a list, and she and I sat down to talk, and I've gathered some other activities from people around town. Everybody who I mentioned it to had something else to tell me, and it wasn't on my list. So I thought Joyce Wood's list last year was long, but she'd only been in town for 20 years, and Sandy has double that time. So I put a list in the paper, and I'd like to read those items now. These are the things that Sandy does and has continued to do for many years. Accompanying the carolers on the Common, which I mentioned she did for 27 years, but also she accompanies the choruses in town, musical theater productions, and other activities. She has 30 years of participation on school and town boards, including the Budget Committee, the School Board, the School District Safety Committee, District-wide Facilities Committee, Fiscal Responsibility Committee, Lamprey River Elementary School Building Committee, the Lamprey Elementary School Leadership Committee, and she's secretary there, School in Need of Improvement Committee, the 250th Anniversary Celebration Committee, 4th of July Program Committee, Ethics Committee, Capital Improvements Program Committee, Recreation Advisory Board, Cable Committee, Ballot Clerk and Vote Counter, and there may be a lot more. However, I only had annual reports back to 1997. So there's a lot more years earlier that Sandy has been involved. She's also been a judge or an auditor for Miss Raymond, Miss Raymond, and Mr. Raymond pageants, and for the state of New Hampshire bus rodeos, which I thought was fascinating. She was a judge. She never competed, but she was a judge.
Want me to tell them what you said?
What did I say?
You thought it was animals. You
I
couldn't
did.
No, that's two buses competing.
Yes, and
You didn't
I
like
was
the wind,
actually,
did you?
when she told me that she had been a judge for the rodeo, I'm thinking, I'm appalled, I'm not a fan of rodeos. And so as she's commenting about it, and she's very excited about it, and I'm trying to be a little bit more upbeat, and finally I find out it's buses, and I'm thrilled. I think that's a wonderful activity. She was bus driving instructor for the state of New Hampshire for many years as an unpaid state employee. She's currently president of the Raymond Educational Support Staff Union, and she's been a representative for 11 years. She founded the Santa's Secret Store program for the elementary school 30 years ago, and yesterday was the 30th time that they had the store, and Sandy is still managing it. Active member of the of different PTOs. I have the elementary school PTO here, but she's been on the PTOs at all three of the schools. She participated in and assisted with RCFY programming, with FEATS Math Night and Science and Technology Night, probably other programs as well. She drives the bus for the after graduation program as a volunteer effort. She works for many booths each year at the town fair, including Abigail's Attic. And then I added just today, because I found out about it, that she works on the 4th grade yearbook every year as well. So I'm sure that you probably all know her from some other capacity as well. But I would like to invite Sandy to come up now. I'll read it to everybody. It says, presented with the greatest respect, 2013 Volunteer of the Year, Sandra Lee Ellis, for your dedication to the community of Raymond, New Hampshire. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, you can have it back. You want to say anything to anybody?
Not much.
Okay, well, go ahead here.
I was very, very, very surprised when I heard this, and I'm almost going to say shocked, because I guess I just do it because I like to do it. I like being with the kids, and that's basically what a lot is involved. And I really didn't believe Kim at first when she told me this, so I do want to thank everybody that has sent me emails or texted me, and especially you people that have come out today to see me here. I can't thank you enough, and I even had other people that didn't, send emails, but they came directly to me, and that's very, very much appreciative. I heard I've been around on Facebook quite a bit, but I'm not a Facebook person. That's a long story there. I want to thank everybody. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. Thank you for everybody. I have to wait for a moment.
Yes. Our state senator, John Regan, is here today, and he has something for you as well.
an inspiration of a volunteer that brings positive benefits to our lives. Occasionally there are outstanding volunteers, and I am honored to be here today with your friends and neighbors to recognize you, Sandy Ellis, as an outstanding volunteer. When we recognize the effort of a standout volunteer, we thank the person or group we appreciate for the benefit they have given us and our community. Sandy Ellis is the volunteer we recognize today. We thank Sandy for the benefits we have enjoyed and for the example set for all of us. And Sandy, I have a resolution from the New Hampshire Senate. And it says, the New Hampshire Senate, a resolution, be it known that the New Hampshire Senate extends its congratulations to Sandy Ellis in recognition of being named the 2013 Volunteer of the Year by This Week in Raymond, and be it further known that the New Hampshire Senate extends its best wishes for continued success.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ellen. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to see so many people show up here because we all know how much the whole town of Raymond loves Sandy Ellis. I first met Sandy about 30 years ago, and I had her daughter Sarah in my class. Of course, Sandy was only 12 then, and I was 10. But she was always a very involved parent, one of those parents that you like to see come in the door because it was always, what can I do to help? And just give me something to do. It didn't matter if I wanted some papers run off, or just to have her show up when we had our winter concerts, because back then everybody was required to go, if you remember those days.
I remember those.
And Sandy would show up and she'd play the piano or help with crowd control or whatever. And now fast forward 30 years and she's the union president, and her and I have worked out many a naughty problem together. So I really appreciate Sandy for her wit and her intelligence and her constant helping out with everything that we do in Raymond. So Sandy.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, I gotta leave now. I've lectured all week, just been waiting for this. Debbie, help me.
I've been waiting 17 years for this moment. When we first found out on Monday that Sandy was named Volunteer of the Year and that Kim had asked me to speak in her behalf, Sandy and I have been going back and forth. I'm glad you showed up, Sandy. Because the first thing she said, she wasn't going to come. In all seriousness, I met Sandy about 17 years ago. She had white hair then, she still does now. And Sandy's the type of person where when she comes up to talk to you, you have to ask her what hat she has on, because she wears so many, whether it be school, whether it be town, whether it be volunteer, or anything else. I knew this was going to be a tough conversation to have, because Sandy and I have had thousands of conversations over the years. I mean, what do you say? What do you say about a person who just gives and gives and gives until it hurts and then continues to give? I think what you say is thank you, and what's next? Because that's the kind of person that Sandy is. You know, she's never satisfied. She's always looking for what's the next thing she can do. So it's a privilege for me to be up here today to tell her what a wonderful part of my life she's been for 17 years, and my family as well. And God knows over 17 years we've seen tears.
Oh, yeah.
And she's doing her best right now, as we talked about it. But on behalf of the students, the staff, and all the parents here, Sandy, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for everything that you do. I have a couple of special things we wanted to give to you. And I have to put my glasses on so I can read it too. So first, Sandy, from the staff, when we found out on Monday, we wanted to do something nice for you as quickly as we could. So what we decided to do is to have all of our staff members sign this and put our staff photo from this year on it, so.
I didn't sign it.
From the staff.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. You sure did. You sure did.
This just goes to prove she doesn't know everything that goes on in school.
Wow.
And then secondly, and probably more important than even that, you know, Sandy mentioned it in her remarks, but this was really from the students, because the students is what makes Sandy get up every day. So Sandy, we got as many as we could without you knowing over the last 4 days. So this is from the students of LRES.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure you took all those pictures.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. That's nice.
Kathy, want to come up?
Here could be more trouble.
Come here, friend. Sandy and I have known each other for 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah.
She's been a wonderful friend, and she's been a co-worker on many committees. Sandy started her volunteer career, and it has been a career, Sandy, on the school board.
If you can call that a career.
Well, Sandy and I worked together for a long time on the school board. Sandy stayed longer than I did. She had more stamina, I guess. There were times that we agreed fully, and other times that we didn't.
I'll tell you about one.
Go ahead, you tell them.
Yeah, one night we were here, and we didn't have TV. When TV came on, it was a little different. But boy, Kathy and I were really on opposite sides. Now, Kathy and I rode together, because we're very close. We live very close to each other. And we had quite a battle. We had quite a battle over, I can't even remember.
I don't remember it either.
But Tim Lewis was on the board too that time. And when I got up, I said to Tim, wait a minute. And Kathy was picking up her stuff, and I said, you gotta do me a favor. Don't leave till you know I'm in Kathy's car. And he said, okay. So Kathy walked out ahead, and I walked out, and I was headed to the car, and she didn't say anything. So I got in her car. Not a word was said all the way home. Not, and I really mean that. So she dropped me off, and I said, good night, talk to you later. She said, good night. And we didn't talk till about Monday or Tuesday, and then we were fine. So to me, that means it's a good friendship.
Yes.
That to me is a friendship.
That was a story I was going to tell, but you said it best. Because we did. We always remained friends, even when we were disagreeing. And Sandy has volunteered on so many things. And Ellen, I think you're probably the person here that would remember us being on the school board together.
Oh, yes.
We
There are
did
times
agree.
when I disagree with both of you.
And we served on many committees together. We had lots of fun. And I very much appreciate having Sandy, not only as a friend, but as a colleague in so many of those different adventures in our lives. I appreciate you. Thank
I
you, Sandy.
appreciate you, Kathy, you know it.
Thank
You
you.
still do it. Oh, now you're trouble. I didn't invite him, someone else did. This is my brother, David.
I've known her for 63 years. I'm the little brother. I never clue about this, but I also didn't have a clue about the laundry list of things that were read earlier about my sister. And I have an excuse. I do have an excuse. When she was starting all of this, I was finishing grad school, and I left New Hampshire for about 30 or so years after that and didn't come back. And she's still doing it, but I didn't find out she was still doing it until about 2 days ago. But I can tell you the early story, like Paul Harvey. I can tell you the rest of the story, okay? The pre-Raymond days, but I won't go into detail. Just a couple things that kids and kid brothers have their memories of their older sisters, and Sandy was quite a bit older, but a big part of my life in New Hampshire and even beyond New Hampshire was baseball. And I played ball through all my years here, a couple state championships in high school and Legion championships, and then went on. I played ball in college. I have 4 sons that all played ball and coached them. But I will always tell people that it was my sister who taught me how to play. And that was when I was 7 or 8 years old, and she dragged me outside and said, I'm going to teach you how to play baseball. And I fell in love with it, and it was all because of her. But also, this is the same sister that about that same time, I was afraid of the water. And maybe it was a year or so before that. And we had our folks had a little small place in the lake up in Lake Winnisquam, small camp, and we'd go up there, and I'd go on the dock, but I would not go in until I had a sister that threw me in. Without no life jackets, just pushed the little kid off the dock, and that was my sister, this one. And about 2 or 3 years later, now I'm like a fish. I love the water. And my parents go away for a day, and Sandy comes up with a bright idea. We got a guy that lived about next door that was about her age. Why don't you go water skiing on Billy's shoulders? So all of a sudden, yeah, that's great. By then, I liked the water, so I'm on Billy's shoulders, and I'm water skiing, and I'm looking down. I'm 8 feet above the water, and how am I going to get down? And my parents had gone away. They would have never allowed it. They had gone away for to shop or something. Of course, they come back.
I was good when I was young, really.
They come back when they see their baby out there on somebody's shoulders water skiing, thanks to this one. But over the years, like a bad younger brother, I never said I loved her enough, and I do. And she has done an incredible job with Sarah, with all the things she's contributed to the town of Raymond. We'd come out and visit. I'd hang out with Jim in the shop, and as you know, Jim used to like to talk a lot, and so I'd spend hours out there listening to Jim. But it was special. It was special to be a little bit part of their lives. Unfortunately, after that, it became a situation of just seeing her when I'd visit back, like in the holidays or something like that. So we didn't get a chance to talk a lot, so I didn't have a chance to know all the things she's done here, and I'm really proud of her. And just to say I love you, and I thank you for doing all this.
Dana?
My name is Dana Zulager, and I've known Sandy, I guess, since my kids started at the elementary school and preschool, so 7 or 8 years ago. And Kim asked me to say a few words because I've worked with Sandy on a number of things. And I have to say, hats off to This Week in Raymond for having this focus on volunteers. I moved to Raymond in 2001, and I've heard it said a number of times that this town is great because of the people that volunteer for things. And having the newspaper put a focus on this, and I look at the recipients last year and this year, it's not just what they did over the course of this year. We could make a long list of things that Sandy's done this year. It's almost a Lifetime Achievement Award. All of these things that people have done for our town. And really it serves as an inspiration. We all have talents and things that, we're good, ways that we can help. And, it might not ever come to the level of things that Sandy's done because it's been a continual ongoing thing. But it's really a good example for the rest of us to volunteer in the ways that we can. And it's the small things you do. It's the baking, for your class, or it's the making a sign, or helping with any number of things. It's also serving on the boards and committees. And when I got the email that Sandy had won the award this year, I thought, you know, when you think about Sandy, she's not a person who does not have an opinion. She definitely has an opinion. But when she comes to a board meeting or a committee meeting or a school function, she comes without that opinion. She really does, and that's pretty impressive. When I thought about that, it was really stunning to me, all the boards and committees that you've been on, that you've served those, because you're there to serve that. And I've asked her many times, you know, why she does different things, and it always is for the kids. And when I think about Saturday morning, I went over to get a couple of pictures and drop off some stuff for the Santa Secret Store Reindeer Cafe, and I tried to get Sandy into a picture with the rest of the PTO board, and that was hard to do because she was in the cafeteria for 15 minutes with the little boy picking out the perfect gift for his family and helping out. It was so impressive. It's all those little things that is so great. And whenever I go into the school parking lot, I see Sandy's little green car in that same pole position, and it's because she arrives there first. I'm not there early enough to notice if she's the first or if people just leave that spot for her, but I mean,
They're beginning to learn.
But this, if I think of the things you've done this past year, she's been a great help with the theater troupe things that we've done through the Family Engagement Action Team, because she knows the kids, A, and she likes the music, and when we were doing the spring show, Razzmatazz, Sandy had stepped forward to volunteer and do the piano work. She says, I'll dig through all my piano books, and she found the sheet music for about every song that we were doing.
Well, that also belonged to my mother. I don't want you to think I
would say, like, over the weekend, she comes in, she has 10 books, and Dana, I think I have all these numbers. And she did. So I want to say hats off from the feed team. She hadn't been, that's one of the committees she didn't join at the beginning, but, you know, over the course of things, she joined us this spring, and she said, I would like to come and help. She helps with all the events to begin with. I think every single event that FEED has done, the science nights, the math nights, the book bash, the theater troupe, the Lego, she's there as an event volunteer, and now she's joining the committee as well. But this is a good inspiration for all of us. You know, it's not just being on the committee or doing the work behind the scenes. It's coming out for a one-time event and helping out with that, or bringing things, setting a good example. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Do we have a representative from the PTO who is going to speak? I know that there were some phone calls going around. Okay. Anybody else who wants to speak to Sandy or to the work of a committee or a board that you represent? Anybody else?
We love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, we have cake and coffee and apple cider, so help yourselves, and thank you, everybody, for coming, and obviously take a look at the awards that Sandy has received, and enjoy yourselves. We're done.